Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Giomini coming to you with some examples from the Chapter 4 Midpoint. See if we can't refresh our memories on these and see where we might have faltered. Take a look at the first one. These are just basic computations. This is really showing me if you know the algorithms for these different problems. Take a look at the first one. Calculate the sum for 376 and 82 hundredths and negative 5 and 9 tenths. First thing I would have done if I were a student solving these, calculate. That is the verb. I'm going to box that in. What am I calculating? I am calculating the sum. And I'm going to put here, sum means to add. And what am I adding together? 376 and 82 hundredths and negative 5 and 9 tenths. If I were to write this, I'd probably do it horizontally, just so I could take a look at it a little bit more closely. So I have 376 and 82 hundredths is a positive, plus a negative 5 and 9 tenths. If I want to think about this, I have $376.82. I'm going to add to that a negative 5 and 9 tenths. So instead of going further to the right on the number line, I'll actually go to the left. And because this is a positive, what I'm really going to do is signs are the opposite, so I will subtract. Now I'm going to subtract this. I will put the 5 and 9 tenths. I will line up the place values, the 5s and the 1s, put the decimal point, the 9 is in the tenths, draw my equal sign. I could put a zeros here if I'd like to fill in. That is acceptable. And I'm going to subtract because I'm going to find their difference because signs are opposite. So I had $376. I just essentially lost $5.90. This would be 2. This becomes an 18. I borrow the one group of 1s from here, so that becomes 5. I have 18, that is 9. Subtract 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 and 3. That should be 370 and 92 hundredths. This number, 376 and 82 hundredths, has a larger absolute value. It is positive, so my answer would stay positive. Missed by a lot of people on the assessment because we came up with a negative answer here. Or we added negative 5 and 9 tenths to this, but we added and then made it 382. Okay, let's take a look at, I'm going to do number 2. Number 2, it says, calculate, there's my verb, calculate the difference. Difference means to subtract, and I'm subtracting negative 65 and 63 hundredths and 25 and 19 hundredths. Let me write this one again horizontally. I can take a look at it better. So we have negative 65 and 63 hundredths minus, which means I am moving further to the left on the number line. I am getting even smaller than negative 65. And I am minusing 24 and 19 hundredths. Now, first thing I notice, we have subtracting integers or subtracting negatives. So I have keep, change, change. Keep negative 65 and 63 hundredths. Change that minus to a plus, and change that 24 to a negative 24 and 19 hundredths. Now it makes it a little easier. Negative plus a negative. Hey, the answer is going to be negative, and now I can line up according to place value. Put the decimal there, 1 in the tenths, 9 in the hundredths, 4 in the ones, 2 in the tens. It's a negative, but I'm going to add these two. Again, like I tried explaining, you have $65 in debt. You just added another $24 in debt. It doesn't make sense now to have negative $41. You actually have more debt. I am further down the hole. I'm further away from 0. I have 9 plus 3 is 12. 7, 8, 9, and 8. I am at negative 89 and 82 hundredths would be the correct answer for this one here, number 2. Let's take a look at number 3. Calculate the product. Product. Oh, there's another word. What does product mean? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. So let's take a look here. Box in my verb. Calculate is my verb. That's telling me what to do. Product. That's an answer to a multiplication problem. And I have negative 4 and 97 hundredths. 9 and 6 tenths. I have a negative times a positive. Signs are opposite, so my answer will be negative. All I'm going to do now is put those numbers down, 4 and 97/100ths. Remember, when I multiply, I do not line up decimals. Repeat, do not line up decimals. Put my multiplication symbol here. What I may do first is go, hey, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place. Altogether, that gives me 3 decimal places. I must move it over to the left when I am done multiplying these factors. So 7 times 6, 42. 9 times 6, 54. Plus 4 is 58. 6 times 4, 24. 24 plus 5, I think, gives me 29. I am now done with this 6 in the 10th place. I will cross it out. I will put a 0 here to hold that place value. Now, I'm going to cross these out because I'm going to start multiplying the ones by everything up top. So 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 9 is 81, plus 7 is 87. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 8. 36 plus 4 would be 40. So plus another 4, that gives me 44, I believe. Let's take a look and start to add. 2, 11. Put the addition sign here just so you know what operation I'm doing. 16, 17. 6, 7, 4. Now, remember I started way back here. Move that decimal 3 places to the left. 1, 2, and 3. And remember what I said, a negative times a positive will give me a negative. You should have negative 47 and 712 thousandths for that one. Let's take a look at the last one on that top 4. This is essentially the top section of the assessment. And what do we say here? This was, I believe it, what do we have here? Negative 47 and 712 thousandths. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. I think this one was negative 89. What was that? Negative 89, and I believe 82 hundredths. And this one should have been 370 and 92 hundredths. Let's take a look at the last one. Calculate. Hey, there's that verb. Notice that verb's the same for every single one of these. Calculate. We're just using our algorithms just for each one of these different operations. Calculate the quotient. Quotient means the answer to a division problem. Negative 3 and 3/10 divided by 11 hundredths. A negative divided by a negative will give me a positive. Now, it's important that we set the division problem up correctly. There's my division bar. The 3 and 3/10 go inside. The negative 11 hundredths go on the outside. I move the decimal over once and twice. Move decimal over once and twice. I put a 0 here to hold place value. I'm going to rewrite this problem. Makes it a little easier for me to see. This really becomes 330 divided by 11. It's okay to rewrite it. I don't really like to be able to have all these things here. It helps me move the decimal, but then when I actually want to do the operation itself and work through the algorithm, I like to just rewrite the problem nice and neat. I will put a decimal here at the end, just in case I need it. I can add 2 zeros if I'd like. And let's start to divide. 11 does not go into 3. 11 goes into 33 3 times. 11 times 3 is 33. I subtract that 0, bring down a 0. Well, there's nothing left over, but I must put a number here to hold that place value in the ones place, because here's the decimal point. We must have something here. We can't just say 3 tens. I must have 3 tens and 0 ones. So the correct answer here would be 30. That'd be the correct answer. And it's a positive because a negative divided negative is a positive. Let's take a look at one more from the midpoint quiz that people struggle with. It says, a student's solution to y plus 9 and 4/10 equals negative 17 and 5/10, so is y equals negative 8 and 1/10. Is the student's answer correct or incorrect? Justify your reasoning. Okay, a student's solution to y, I'm going to rewrite this down here, y plus 9 and 4/10, so they had some kind of equation here, equals negative 17 and 5/10. Now they said, hey, y is equal to negative 8 and 1/10. Now what I want to do is say, hey, is this person's answer correct or incorrect? I must justify, there's my verb, justify my reasoning. What that means is I probably should show work to validate whether I believe it's incorrect or correct. Take a look here. Let's just solve this like an equation. And let's see if we do get this answer. All right, let's take a look. We have, well, I want to isolate this variable of y. I need to get rid of the 9 and 4/10. To get rid of it, I subtract. Now, all week I've been stating, or all last week I was stating, hey, if you have integers that you're subtracting, or excuse me, negative numbers, negative decimals, these aren't integers, it's best to do it horizontally, not vertically. So now we're left with y is equal to, I would write this like this, negative 17.5. It makes it easier for me to see, minus 9 and 4/10. First thing I notice, I am subtracting this negative decimal. So subtraction. So just like we do with integers, it becomes keep, change, change. I'm at negative 17.5. I'm going to take away 9.5, means I'm getting further to the left on the number line. I mean, I'm getting smaller. If I get 16, I'm getting bigger. So I need to go further to the left. So that becomes really negative 17.5 plus change, negative 9 and 4/10. You owe me $17.50. I'm going to take away another $9.40 from you. How much do you owe me now? Now they're both negative, so my answer will be negative. I would just line up the place values, 9 and 4/10. I know it's negative. They're both negative, so I'll add. That becomes 9. Bring down the place value. 9 and 7 is 16. That becomes 2. It's negative. It'd be y equals negative 26 and 9/10. I have just provided justification as to why my answer is correct, theirs is incorrect. What I could even do is talk about substitution and substitute their answer of negative 8 and 1/10 plus 9 and 4/10 is equal to negative 17.5. That means these two numbers, when added, should give me negative 17.5. If I just look at this, we have a negative plus a positive. When signs are opposite and we're adding, we want to find the difference. I would actually subtract 8 and 1/10 from this. I would write 8 and 1/10, take away from that. Now I'm hoping, again, it's equal to negative 17.5. That becomes 3. That becomes 1. Which one has a larger absolute value? Which one's further away from 0? 9 and 4/10 or negative 8 and 1/10? Well, it's the 9 and 4/10. It is positive. This is positive. Look, these do not equal each other. So that's another way to justify why this person is incorrect. And I have provided with 2 ways to justify why they are incorrect. I will post other videos later in the week to help you out with the remainder of the assessment. Take care.